There we are. Can you hear me now? There we are. Now we got it working. All right. I've been talking to myself all this time, but then again, what's new? What's been new this week? Welcome aboard, everyone. It is your host and conductor aboard this wild and crazy ride, Demetrius, and yeah, okay, so now we got everything working and set and good to go. Thank you all for reminding me that my mic was muted. That tends to happen a little bit more than it should be, but anyway. So, we got a couple of news bits to go. This may be a little bit of a shorter stream because I know all of you out there in YouTube and TV land might be watching the sports ball championship of the three-pointers. I know that was all wrong. Yeah, I know, it's the Super Bowl, guys. I stopped watching the NFL years ago. I really stopped caring, but it would be nice for the Bungles to win. My best friend is a big fan of the Cincinnati Bungles, so they can have it. Yeah, sports ball. Let's go have it for sports ball. Speaking of, so for those of you guys on the audience over here, again, we're going to try to keep everything to shorter. Let's try to keep them to short form questions if we can. We may have enough time to go ahead for having a second round of questions or any topic of discussions. If you want any news that you want me to discuss that we haven't discussed yet, we can go ahead and go into that and discuss it in there. But any questions or anything like that, we'll go into. All right, so who we have on board? We have Grambo, we have Osman, we have the Chicago Rail Fran, Trains for Robert, David Mitchell, just the Hillbilly 77, Akbar Ali, and Adam Busar. We are doing fine, everybody. Welcome aboard. So, we do have some good news, so let's go over some good news. We rarely get good news nowadays, so we might as well take it in strides, right? So this coming out of Railway Age on the 10th this week. The Empire Builders coming out of Chicago with the new Amtrak 50th anniversary liveries right over here. These are pretty nice for the 50th anniversary over here. It's kind of a throwback to the old black Amtrak logo and everything. Well, not the logo, but at least the side. So yeah, we put out a screenshot this week, and I have been using YouTube community more often. That was something that I wanted to get into for a little bit, and we seem to be getting very positive results from that. So I'm glad you guys are all enjoying it. So thank you all for commenting it, on doing everything there. It's been pretty fun. It has been pretty fun. But yeah, the Empire Builder, which has been in service since 1929 on the Great Northern Railroad, is back with now the Siemens Chargers over here that Amtrak has been buying over here. Yep, the 4,200 horsepower Cummins QSK 95. I did work for Cummins, so I know those engines very well. So I don't know if maybe Siemens and Cummins have ironed over some of the differences between. Yeah, I won't go too much into that. That's a whole other bucket of worms right over there. But yeah, they seem to be doing pretty well over here. Entered into revenue service on the 8th. Yeah, to go from Chicago to Seattle or to Portland, because they do run two separate services over here. Yeah, to Portland. So that is the route. So you can see over here they had a pretty big media event and everything like that, showing it off over in Chicago Union Station, right underneath over there. I wish they would clear up the station over here a little bit, because it's not too nice on the inside over here. It is nice on the outside. If you guys have ever been to the Chicago Union Station, it is a beautiful station. And I have seen this room over here where they do have the PRR T1, the Pensy. But back when trains had a style to them, when everything had a style to them. I mean, come on. But I mean, it's pretty good that at least we are moving forward in some sort of things over here, especially when it comes to Amtrak, which has a little bit of keeping up to do, but at least they're here. You know, they're getting in there. So Amtrak is paying for the new locomotives and supplemental multi-year maintenance support with about $850 million in funding set aside when the order was placed in 2019. So close to $1 billion. So the new locomotives will replace those P40 and those P42s. You know, those ugly GEs finally going away. There you are. Yeah, I was never a fan of those GEs, honestly. I know some people are, but I'm not sad to see them go. They didn't have style to begin with, Yeah, I grew up, riding on those things. Never really liked them, but yeah. We could talk about some more stuff about Brightline and the extension to Orlando and stuff like that. And we'll probably open up the floor for call-ins and questions at around 8:15, 8:20. But also out of railway age. I did read this article over here. Why is high-speed rail such a heavy lift? And I know we are pretty high-speed rail-centric on this channel, and I have done my best to branch out to other sorts of rail, because it's not just high-speed rail. You do need freight. You do need intercity and intracity passenger rail systems. You need some sort of transit, so just street rail, etc. So, yeah, in a mix of heavy rail, light rail, all that combined. Because America does need better rail transportation. But, of course, why we stick to high-speed rail is because high-speed rail is sexy. Okay? High-speed rail is the thing that people look at, and that's the thing that really catches people's eyes, right? It's pretty important. I mean, you can see behind me over here, I still have a poster here, the Indianapolis high-speed rail poster over here. Well, that's from the Midwest High-Speed Rail Association. Well, was the Midwest High-Speed Rail Association, now the High-Speed Rail Alliance, from our friends over there over in Chicago. So we did get that poster over there from them. And yeah, I mean, you look at history of trains, and it ends up over there with the German Intercity Express 3 and the Nozomi Shinkansen from Japan. So I mean, yeah, look, that's why we focus on high-speed rail. It's cool, and if a country generally has a robust high-speed rail system, generally they do have a very good rail system in between, getting people back and forth. Not necessarily, but very much that is the correlation, or a better infrastructure system, right? It's sort of the face of it, okay? Not that we don't focus on other forms of infrastructure, which we're going to get into a lot of other infrastructure issues on here, because I got a lot of articles, as you can tell from the live stream thumbnail and from everything else. We're going to be talking a lot about trucks. So get ready to honk. Get ready to honk, guys. But so this article here, I wasn't too. It's a lot of the same stuff that we've been hearing about. Written by an older gentleman. We'll put it at that. I don't think. Well, let me see. The Boomer generation ends 65, right? 1965. So technically, this guy is late Gen X. Yeah, probably late Gen X. Which it's a hit or miss with that gen. Millennials are generally very much a miss, and Zoomers are even worse off. No, I'm joking, guys. Everybody's got their own issues and stuff, but we like to we like to beat on everybody over here. But at least with this article over here, it's the same thing, talking about our own problems with infrastructure, our own problems with our train system, that we want something a little bit better. And you look at other places, and a lot of jabs over at I would say more Republican politicians over here. I mean, we're still going against Scott Walker. I mean, he's been out of the. I mean, he hasn't even been what. He's like a Felicia of politics at this point. Nobody remembers Scott Walker from Wisconsin, the governor of Wisconsin from like 10 years ago. But even if he did get that project, I don't think it would be in such a good spot anyway. I still wouldn't think that Wisconsin would have gotten high-speed rail anyway. But that's just me. So of course we talk about all the countries. It brings out like a list over here, right? France, Germany, Italy, Belgium, Spain, England, Switzerland, South Korea, Taiwan, Japan, China, all have high-speed rail except for our politicians. But the problem is that again, our political system generally makes it harder. Plus, and the biggest issue is our politicians themselves make it ridiculously hard in order to get something like this done through a federal level, right? Because the United States is a large country, but even still, you have large countries like China, like Russia to an extent. France, I would say, is probably the largest country in the European continent to have a full high-speed rail system, along with maybe Spain was probably the most ambitious to a fault. But there's a lot of larger countries that have had high-speed rail. Now, that's why we go and we promote for a more regional sort of building for this sort of system. And of course, Alfred's map over here, and he's a good guy. I've spoken to Alfred years ago, and on Facebook a little bit here and there. He's more of an acquaintance. I wouldn't say a friend. I'm just being fair and honest over here. If somebody said I want to talk to him or want his number, I wouldn't know, honestly. But I may go ahead and message him back. I've been trying to message some people for interviews and stuff like that this week. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get Roaming Rail Fan. That's his decision, and completely understand if he wants to keep things to his own channel and whatnot, and he wants to keep it private and everything. That's perfectly fine. Okay, no qualms at all with that. But if any of you guys have any other interview suggestions for other channels, or maybe we can have a live stream with them on the board, we can definitely do that. But here's the thing with this map, and I've said it before. We love this map. This map would be great. It would be fantastic if something like this were to happen. But again, the issue is that we do not have a cohesive political structure in this country that is going to make this happen. All right? It's already as bad as it is between the two parties, as you can say, or two uniparty system between Republicans and Democrats, which are more or less the same thing. And a lot of, I would say, the younger generations on both sides of the aisle have completely and utterly lost faith with the political system, me included. And why not? I mean, if you're on one side, the election was stolen. On the other side, you had to go ahead and what was the term that Newsweek called it? They had to fortify the election. So yeah, that's old news anyway. At this point, it's done and over with, so it doesn't matter, right? But having something like this would be nice. This was something that would absolutely be possible. Speaking of massive infrastructure projects and thinking bigger and whatnot, we do have another bit of good news. So let's not just leave it over here, guys. We do have a bit of good news. Let me go ahead and bring this up. If you have not seen, something has returned to YouTube. Susan has returned it to us. As you can see, the little dark age of infrastructure is back. It is back in gear over here at 215,713 views. It is back. I'm not gonna play the audio because that could cause another thing. Because we said the C word. If you guys know what the C word is, it's the that word last stream. And YouTube limited our monetization, but it's what it is. YouTube wants people to, or at least I'm not gonna get into it because I'm gonna start to get mad. But yeah, it's back, so you can go ahead and share with your friends. Honestly, it brings me to tears a lot here and there. This is, we had this. Look at this. Americans weren't giant lumps of amorphous flesh that just shove down carbohydrates down their throats. I mean, look at these guys. I mean, how much could these guys deadlift? I mean, seriously, they're probably, look at that. They're just pulling down a whole train there. Now, yeah, could you be able to pull down a whole train? Yeah, it's simpler because there's less friction, but still, I mean, come on, look. Americans back then were a whole different breed of people. The Americans today, because I just went to the grocery store to go ahead and just pick up some things and just pick up a quick dinner, and I don't know, it just got me angry. It's like, this is not the same country anymore in so many different ways. But at least we're here, right? We have a group of people here in the American Rail Club that want something better, right? We don't want this American lifestyle, this one over here, right? Just sitting in the car. I love the American lifestyle. I love that this is not the American lifestyle, guys. This is a complete subversive, complete lie, and complete absolute destruction of what America means, or what, at least what it meant. Because America doesn't mean this anymore. It doesn't mean making 120 mile an hour steam trains. Towering, beautifully architectural megalopolises. Look at this. I mean, look at how Chicago looked like back then, right? You know, and you look at videos of World's Fairs and stuff like that, and it was a complete night and day difference of taste and architecture of building methods. Okay, you can barely get something like this built. I mean, the Empire State Building, I believe they started construction in 1929 and then finished in 1932. So about 3 years to construct the Empire State Building. We can barely get a building built. I mean, how long did it take to get the World Trade Center 1 built? That took like at least 10 years or so. Because I remember when they started building that, and I was visiting New York all the time, and you know they were building it all in all. But yeah. Ark, you should introduce RM Transit on stream. Yeah, it's a pretty good channel. Definitely put that down. Let me just go ahead and start putting down some suggestions. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions or anything like that, let me know. But yeah, I think it's really something that we need to be looking at, because this is just off. But at least this is back. You can show it to your friends. You can show it to your family, because I've definitely done that. It has started a lot of conversations, right? And it's only it's a 2-minute video. It's a 2-minute video, and just look at the way things looked back then. This was Detroit, okay? Look at that. So everybody has this sort of lie of saying, we've said it multiple times before, oh, you know, the cars killed everything. You know, once people got a car, there was no need for trains. Look, you see cars over here, and there's plenty of them all over the place. Up and down the street, and they're parked on the street. People are walking back and forth. There's transit over here. It's large, walkable streets, walkable cities. You know, that's the type of thing that works. It has worked. I mean, it works in different countries too. So yeah, at least there's that. You know, but again, talking about this map over here, there was a tweet talking about this that came out, I believe, last year around March of 2021. Gen Z's high-speed rail dream, talking about this, and somebody tweeted it. I want her so effing much. That was the tweet, and on 185,000 likes, 50,000 retweets. So I mean, it did pretty well. You know, it wasn't at all ratio by far, and we know that when we've done studies of, you know, how many people want high-speed rail, it's not a contentious subject. Close to over 90% of people in multiple different studies that we've done back then support high-speed rail, and it's still the same thing, right? It's a lot different than people nowadays. Let's see this new poll coming out right now for future job prospects for us youngins over there. Joe Biden may have a job plan for everybody. We'll talk about that later on. But yeah, definitely a lot better than what this poll is on the screen. And for those of you just listening in, because I know some people just listen in as a podcast later on, this poll says negotiations around Russia and Ukraine. The U.S. should support Ukraine or stay the heck out. Right? 18 to 29, 61% say stay out. And this is a very vast shift in age, and you can see the difference. 65 and older, so the baby boomers, 61% want to support Ukraine. Again, that's not really a fair poll, because it's, you know, by how much they want to support Ukraine doesn't mean by just giving them, you know, more weapons, more aid, because we've supplied them 90% of all their total aid as of 2010, 2014, and still now. Or sending their grandkids off to go ahead and you know, die for oil again. You know, you can definitely see over here 18 to 29 does not want to go in. 30 to 44 does not want to go in. It's pretty clear. But we'll get into that later. All right. So it's about 8:20. I think we're right on time to go ahead and take some questions over here. And it's a good time for all of you guys if you want to go ahead. Do have another red stripe over here, and I got my multi-tool this time, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up as we go ahead and see who's in the audience. Chicago Rail Fan is up first over here, so we'll go ahead, unless, actually, let's see, we'll go ahead and bring in people who have their hands up this time. Well, if Chicago Rail Fan, if you have your hand up, we'll go ahead and bring you in. But if you want to speak, be sure to go ahead, raise your hand, and we'll go ahead and bring you in. All right, so Chicago Rail Fan, you'll go first, followed by Crowbar K. And then we'll probably go to another set of articles and go from there. So, Chicago Rail Fan, you're up on board. All right. Remember, guys, if you have been called to come up on board, you just come on up. Hello, Chicago Rail fan. You are on board.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I can now say I'm an adult now, so...
Oh, okay. So, adult 18 or adult 21?
Adult 18.
Okay.
I wish I was 21, but, in Hispanic families, you'll probably drink before then.
Yeah, I have multiple times. What's the ATF gonna do, right? If I drink alcohol, tobacco, firearms, yeah.
Tequila, especially here.
No, it's definitely more of a rum thing for Cuban families or wine and stuff like that. But I mean, that's a normal thing. So what's up, man?
I don't know. I was kind of fascinated with the new, the Empire Builder with the new Siemens Chargers.
Oh yeah.
And I will say, I kind of like the Genesis, because I kind of grew up with them a lot.
Yeah, I grew up with them, and honestly, I don't miss them. They weren't something of like some sort of streamlined design or anything like that. The Chargers, especially the Amtrak version of the Chargers, definitely not as nice as the Brightline ones. But hey, it's what it is. Amtrak's got to comply with their own regulations and everything else. So yeah, that works.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on your stance on the Chicago Union Station. Like, it's pretty ugly nowadays, not gonna lie. Like, I remember at one point they didn't have a ceiling.
Yeah. And you look at older pictures of Chicago Union Station, and of course, like any other thing, people were better dressed back then. People looked better back then. The stations definitely looked better. It's just a completely night and day difference of what it used to be. I mean, at least the station is still there. It's not decrepit in any sort of sense of some other stations around the United States. So, I mean, we still have that architectural wonder, although I probably say it's not as much of a wonder as the old New York Penn Station was, or Grand Central, or maybe Cincinnati, but it's still a very beautiful station. I've taken drone shots of that and everything. I mean, it is nice.
Yeah. You know what's interesting, though? I realized at the very end of the station, right by the riverside, there's a one track that goes right through the concourses. So it's possible to go through Union Station from north to south.
Yeah.
I really wish they could send trains that, would stop in Union Station, not as, a terminal, but, a midway stop, where, you can travel cross-country through Chicago, and then, you would just stop over there and not, have to turn the train around.
Yeah, and, you have... That's just more of a design of just Chicago itself, right? Because it's a mess when you get into Chicago Union Station and the amount of just the amount of transfers that just happen around in the area. I mean, there's a lot of just spokes coming out of there. It's not something like DC where it's just in and out through the same way, and then you can just go ahead and take something like the Silver Meteor or Silver Star all the way through. When it comes to services through Chicago, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, I will say about that. That's one thing I've noticed with a bunch of train stations here and there. Either it's you go through it, you can go in two ways, or it's just one way, where it's it'll have a whole bunch of tracks stop. But it's a little different. There's two sets of tracks on the opposite sides that just stop. Just that one lonely track. I think what's called track 23 or 25, something around there, where it just goes through them. But I've never seen any actual service there.
Yeah. Well, that's just the way it is. Anything else you want to go ahead and share, or anything like that?
Not really. I just wish they would help. They would, revitalize the station and make it, more appealing at least.
Yeah.
Especially in the platforms. It kind of looks ugly. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and people tend to really, especially nowadays, underestimate the need for aesthetics and architectural design. Which, funny enough, a couple years ago when I did go for the Midwest High-Speed Rail Association's conference over there that I spoke at, I don't remember this guy's name, but he gave a very nice presentation on the importance of train station architecture and the study that he has done in multiple cities and multiple countries throughout the world, and looking at sort of the designs, the symbolisms of certain motifs and reliefs in some of these stations and everything. It is very, very important. And people see these differences. Like you look at like Eastern European commie blocks. They're depressive to look at. They're awful. It probably helps the high suicide rate in those areas a lot, unfortunately. And then you look at places that have very nice architecture, beautiful things to look at. It definitely does affect the mental psyche.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I do miss the old days when, the aesthetic there was more appeasing.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man. But
And also, fun fact, I believe the Chicago L had a stop that went right through Union Station, or at least next to it. I believe it was the Metropolitan West Side. I feel like we should have something like that nowadays with the CTA. But
yeah, I remember reading something about that. I know there are stations that have, multi-stations with different services in them around the U.S. that at least helps that. And Chicago would be nice to have that, at least an L close by, but, who knows. But anyway. Yeah. But
well, that's really all I gotta say. Just might be in and out.
Yeah, not a problem. Well, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. See you later, man.
Not a problem. Take care. Alrighty. So, next to come on board is Crowbar K. Crowbar K, invited to speak. Welcome aboard.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, I messed up last time. I didn't notice the notification, but I just figured out how the theater works. But
yeah, we're all learning here, man. No worries.
All right, so I just wanted to say, brand new Amtrak passenger cars have now entered service, and there's been very little news on it. But they are now in revenue service on Amtrak 303 and 305. I did see one article written about it from the Points guy, I think.
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's bring that up. So you said it was on the Points guy?
Yeah, I wanted to. That's what I wanted to talk about last week because it was weird. I only saw like 2 articles about it. It was pretty big news considering like there was news everywhere about when they went testing, and then they just kind of entered service and they didn't really tell anyone.
Here we are. Alrighty. Yeah, we got it on there. We don't have any pictures of that, but we can go ahead and bring some up on board the first revenue service in the Midwest. We got a Twitter picture over here. Let's go ahead and bring that up. Here, yeah, from the high-speed rail lines. If the picture ever loads. There we are. So
they look very nice on the inside.
Oh yeah, very similar to Bright Lines, with the same sort of ceiling and everything there. So I mean, it's definitely the same trains that the Siemens Ventures that are being used on Brightline. Of course, with some different differentiations in colors, and I'm not quite. I think the tables are different too. Yeah, they definitely are.
People have been saying that. I did see a lot of complaining, on certain forums on the internet. I'm not going to name names, but people who haven't even ridden the train yet were complaining about the seats and saying that they looked uncomfortable and that they want the old rickety Amfleets and Horizons back.
Yeah. Those seats on those old passenger trains, those cloth seats, it reminds you of an old 90s Caravan or a Dodge with those cloth seats. The ones that somebody drops gum or some sort of melty candy on there, and you're sitting on it and you're trying to remember. It's is this chocolate? Is this feces? What is this that I'm sitting on right now? And it's all dried up, or little kids' crayons all over the place. They're disgusting, honestly, and they're unhygienic. But these seats look very nice. You have a whole lot of leg room. I mean, you look at over here on this left bottom corner picture. I'm not sure if you're looking on the stream or anything like that, but for those of you guys looking, look at that. You can roll in a whole entire luggage into there, and it fits perfectly fine. Probably
I'm worried about that suitcase blocking the aisle, though. That person needs to move that.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at how much space you have to go across, though. You can't do that on an airline. Forget it. If you can get in. I'm slim enough to just probably jump around over there if it was on an airline. But look at it, you have plenty of space. And again, the Siemens designed this to be completely ADA compliant, which means somebody can roll through with a wheelchair all the way across, or a motor scooter. So if somebody can go ahead and wheelchair around there, or somebody's big behind can be able to move on through. So that's not a problem at all.
Yeah, I used to take that train a lot. I might be taking it sometime because I go to college in downstate Illinois, and I go to Chicago sometimes. So I'm looking forward to those entering service, and I'll get to compare the services and such.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go ahead, and I could just bring in, for those of you who may be in the comments going about the difference between that and the Brightline passenger trains. You can see sort of the difference in the similarities in there. Of course, the Brightline trains have it's not as for full capacity. It's really much more for comfort, for speed, but very similar. The exact same chassis, the Siemens Adventures. It's just the seating arrangements are different. The seats are basically more or less the same, except for some minor differences in terms of the tables. You can see the tables on the Amtrak trains are different. It's a kind of different design as well on there. You can kind of tell that the Brightlines are a little bit more plushier, bulkier leather seats for those services there, and the Amtrak trains are much more uniform, closer together. Still very comfortable. I don't think they've changed anything in the upholstery of the seats, at least the cushioning or anything like that. I think it's all the same.
Yeah. There were one of the big complaints I saw is that the seats don't recline. Listen, the old Amtrak seats kind of reclined a little bit too much, in my opinion, though.
Yeah, sometimes with that, if you had a table or something, you'd had somebody, in the middle of the day would just go ahead and just sleep and just fall all the way back.
Practically into your lap. Almost.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I'm looking at the buttons over here, and it looks, the Brightline trains seats, it's the same sort of system. They don't really recline that much. It's sort of just a slide in, and you can kind of see there's a button over here. Same exact system over here on the Amtrak. There's a sort of button, so you press that button, and the seat has like a slight decline. It's not so much of you're falling back 45 degrees or anything like that. I would say it's more of a maybe 15, 20 degrees. So it's not that much.
I mean, personally, I don't really recline my seat that much anyway, so I don't really care about that. But the seats look kind of comfy to me, but I'm not a very big guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they seem fine to me.
Yeah.
Again, people complaining that all the seats are not the same. It's a lot of the same people that are afraid of change. They want the P-42s and the old Am fleets. You know what? They can go ahead and take them, and they can, they can have them in their backyard. Enjoy them. For everybody else, we want modern, cool-looking trains. That's what we want.
And just one more thing, in a video you can see, because there is like one last Am fleet attached. This is just one more note. They're still using the Am fleet for cafe car, and you can just tell side by side, these new cars are a lot bigger. Like the roof is up higher. There's just a lot more space. Come to think of it, the Am fleets are very cramped. I remember reading somewhere in a museum that when they were designing them in the 70s, they wanted them to be like an airline cabin or something.
Exactly.
Which is a very odd design choice, if you ask me, but they're just so much bigger than
and
the
at least
fleets.
back then in the 70s, you can kind of hand it to them. Flying on airlines is a complete far cry from what it is today nowadays. I mean, when people flew on airlines back then, everybody was all dressed up, and people went ahead and they had full course meals. And it was as cramped. It wasn't so much of, cram as many people as possible in order to maximize revenue. It was really much more of the whole experience around flying. Of course, there was a lot of government stimulus and surplus money that was given to airlines, enough for them to be able to afford that sort of service. But nowadays, it's a complete different thing.
Yep.
All
Basically,
right.
that's all I wanted to just bring that into the news cycle, pretty much.
Not a problem. Appreciate you for coming on, man.
Oh, no problem. Thank you very much.
No problem. Take care. Alrighty. So, that ends it for this round of calls. We'll be going ahead and doing another round of calls, but yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comments about all of that, because honestly, I do think these are a heck of a lot better than the older Amtrak fleets and passenger cars. So yeah, so we got the new Amtrak Chargers, and we got the new Amtrak Ventures as well for the passenger rail cars. Beautiful, just a heck of a lot better. So let's go ahead and look in the comments over here. Cookie Fatties, I'm not going to name that those numbers over there. Would you ever visit the UK steam railways? I would, if I would be allowed to go to the UK. I'm not quite sure if they're now allowing people to fly. Although I do hear they're bringing back a lot of restrictions now for that. So let's talk a little bit of some of these restrictions and stuff like that. What is going on? What's driving people so nuts right now? Well, it's driving people so nuts that they say, you know what, we're gonna close down an entire bridge. So you can see this over in Detroit if you guys have been following the trucking. The truck protests that have been going on over to our friends up north in the Great White North over in Canada, as well as over here in the northern United States, has been getting a lot more heated and intense, and I'm honestly surprised. I've been telling this to people, if they want to go ahead and protest, yeah, absolutely, perfectly fine. But I honestly expected, okay, they're gonna cuck out in maybe a weekend, and that'll be it, and they'll bang a couple tambourines, and then they'll be cleared out. No, they've still been in there for 2 weeks now. For 2 weeks. But let's go ahead and see this video. Actually, I got a better video over here for you guys to see. See if I can bring it up over here. Here we go. If it will actually play.
Preparation.
So let's talk about, this is the whole Super Bowl thing that I wanted to bring up as well. Because everybody was freaking out that maybe, this convoy could go over to the Super Bowl. And they're planning on going ahead and shutting down the Super Bowl. Well, that hasn't happened. They probably took too long to go ahead and plan this whole thing out. Whatever. But it definitely has been freaking people out and freaking politicians out, especially because not just politicians, but also businesses. So let's go ahead, let this play out so you guys can be able to see.
For Super Bowl Sunday in Los Angeles now include a DHS warning of a potential convoy of truckers, similar to the one that's prompted a state of emergency in Ottawa, Canada. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas spoke exclusively to CBS News' Carter Evans.
Once they intervene in other people's freedoms and liberties, it becomes a more complicated landscape, but we're working with law enforcement to address any eventuality.
The Department of Homeland Security says it's received reports that the truckers could potentially begin in L.A. this Sunday and travel cross-country, possibly reaching Washington, D.C. as early as March 1st, the date President Biden delivers the State of the Union address. DHS has warned police agencies.
Yeah, so that's the other thing also that we're going to mention about that there could be a possible convoy to D.C. I don't think that's going to be as successful as a certain protest last year on the 6th of the first month. Didn't go out so well for a lot of those people over there. Where's that one meme? I always love sharing this one about the protesters over there, but nope, I can't find it. It's the one where the guy's in jail and you see the little potato Trump with his binoculars just like laughing on there or something like that. But anyway.
There are currently no indications of planned violence. The potential exists to severely disrupt transportation and federal government operations. The White House says it's watching the trucker protests in Canada very closely as they've blockaded a bridge into Detroit, impacting a supply chain already in crisis.
The Ambassador Bridge is Canada's busiest link to the United States and accounts for about 25% of trade between the two countries.
Auto manufacturers on both sides of the border say they're experiencing production disruptions at their plants.
There we are. So that's the other thing we're talking about. Remember what we've been talking about, whole supply chain issues for at least 2 years since this whole thing has been going on. I've been warning about the supply chain issues since before this has happened, because the way freight trains were running, precision scheduled railroading, of the declining quality and durability of our own railroads that are still existing. So it seems that, well, the big three, and Toyota, because Toyota's a more American car brand than Ford, GM, and Chrysler. Let's be honest, because they're making most of their cars in Canada, although Canada is, I guess, closer in culture and people to the United States, for sure. The Ford's making them in Mexico, GM, Chrysler. Toyota makes their cars and trucks, right over here in the state of Indiana. And in other places, among other places here. So yeah, and Honda too, and all that. So it's always a joke. If you want an American car, buy a Toyota, buy a Honda. That's the funny thing about it.
Disruptions at their plants.
The economic and social harm that these protests are having here in Windsor, in Ottawa, and across Canada is quite significant.
Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer is calling on Canada to immediately reopen the.
So they've got the bridge basically shut down. Now, that's probably not the case as of this moment right now at 8:42 p.m. Eastern Time on February the 13th, 2022, on this blessed Sunday. They probably have been clearing them out, and let's go ahead and we can see some videos of what's going on there. But, this sort of thing has been happening all of a sudden, And of course, Gretchen Whitmer, which I'm not a fan of, and a lot of people are not fans of her, in fact, so much that the FBI themselves cracked the plot and then blamed themselves and arrested all themselves for trying to kidnap this governor. So, yeah, she's not too popular, isn't she? It was a big, FBI false flag, but you know that. The blockade is having a significant impact on Michigan's working families who are just trying to do their jobs. Our communities and automotive manufacturing, agriculture businesses are feeling the effects. It's hitting paycheck and production lines. That is unacceptable. Well, here's the thing. It's not just here in Michigan or in Canada or in a lot of these other places, right? This is happening now all over the world where you're seeing a whole bunch of protests and stuff like that now. So take a look at over in Australia here. Speaking of architecture, no offense to any Aussies out in the audience, but man, your Parliament building looks awful. This is the most ugliest looking thing I've ever seen. It looks like a bomb shelter, and this little this little wire frame pyramid sort of thing holding your flag. That's awful, guys. I mean, oh man, that's not gonna last at all in terms of anything. But yeah, there's people out there, they're protesting for the same sorts of reasons as well. It's happening in France now. I can't show some of the videos in France because I think it's when the French protest, man, do they protest, man. They go full out. They go full out. But we can't show you that because YouTube will say that it's violent and stuff like that, because it does get bloody. Hey, I'm here for the violence, I guess, right? But I can't show that sort of thing. But it's happening in the Netherlands, it's happening in Germany, it's happening all over the place. And look, frankly, I don't care on this stream. I really don't care what any of you all think about the mandates or the coup. We're not going to talk about any of that. We're talking about cause and effect, right? Because when governors like Gretchen Whitmer said that it's been affecting business, it's been affecting paychecks and stuff like that, well, a lot of these business shutdowns that has happened in the last 2 years have definitely affected people's paychecks. Lots of people were laid off, myself included, personally affected by all the tremendous and horrifying effects on the economy. The economy was already a house of cards ready to fall. All this did was just, well, I guess you can say cough on this house of cards, and it just tumbled it all over. Because, again, as I've said before in the videos in the past, and as I said in the last live stream and the last video on introducing part 2 of the 2020s, the supply chain, the just-in-time supply chain, and having a globalized system where a lot of people are now very urbanized and very interdependent. Suburbs have taken a lot of rural land and a lot of what would be either self-sufficient towns, or a lot more agricultural land has been taken away for more, 2-bit garbage subdivision suburban housing that goes up and falls down within 5 years, right? Again, I've been talking about this, how broken it is, but because trucks aren't going ahead and moving all these goods, maybe there'll be a boon for freight trains. Maybe these auto companies will figure themselves out and say, you know what, we're gonna stop moving stuff on trucks and we're gonna just go ahead and put them on trains. Yeah, it's silly. Number one, because they do put them on trains anyway. Most auto traffic for new cars and stuff like that goes on trains in the United States once they come out of the facilities. And of course it's about taking them out from the facilities, putting them on trucks, putting them onto trains, and then trains taking them somewhere, taking them off of trucks, and then putting them somewhere else, right? But with everything that's been going on in terms of cargo trains, right? Let's not forget ourselves. In terms of everything going on there, maybe it's not for the best, right? Because that's been going on. We don't catch a break anywhere. So if it doesn't get shut down there, it gets shut down somewhere else, right? But that's the thing. It's really what it is. Yeah, I can say anybody here out there like that. You guys in the comments have your own opinions on it. At this point, I don't care, right? I don't care because it's not going to really change that much of anything. Maybe Castro. I mean Trudeau. Maybe he'll take off the mandates or whatnot. I don't think he will. I think they may just crack down some more. But who knows? But apparently over in Windsor, as you can see, the boots are marching out by one. Hurrah! Hurrah! Here they come. Yep. There we go. Oh, we got ourselves some. We got some plate carriers here and everything. We got some M4s. We probably got we're running some level 3 body armor, or level 4 at least. We got some fast helmets and everything. We even got the beards too and everything. We got the tactical beards now and everything too. Yeah. They're coming out to get those truckers. The ones that are going out like this over here. Where's that other video? I've just been taking a whole bunch of videos and clips online, either from Twitter or Telegram and whatnot. It does really help a lot.
We're standing on guard. Lean on me. We're standing on guard. Lean on me. We're standing on guard.
Help you carry on. Well, they'll probably help to carry you all out. It's not funny because these are people who are upset. They have grievances, and the economy's already as bad as it is. And at this point, I don't care anymore, right? I mean, I've rang the bell for years and years on end. It's not that the sky is falling. It's that this is real stuff going on. But hey, and here they are with the trucks that they'll be going in later on soon. Who knows? Like I said, there's a lot that's going on. People are upset. Whether you agree with them or whatnot, I don't care to really talk about it on the stream. I really don't, because it's not going to make a difference. What does make a difference are the results, okay? The cause and effect, the results. This is what's going on, okay? For whatever number of reasons, people are upset. So they're going to go ahead and do it, all right? So, yeah. I don't know what's going on with the game. If you guys want to go ahead and, share the scores of what's going on in the sports ball arena, that's perfectly fine. Let's see, do we have any other funny videos over here? Let's see what we got. But yeah, what can we do to solve this? People are upset. People are out of work. They're the infrastructure has crumbled. The economy is down on its luck. People are out of jobs. What can our administration do? What can they do? Well, I know this. It's not funny. It's not funny, but this has been the I guess the sort of the big news this week. Joe Biden's handing out crack pipes now for the month of February. I'm not going to go ahead and say what the month of February is for, but you guys know for sure, you know what it is. But here we are. It's Build Back Better. There we are. This is it. Yeah, I know this article and these headlines are very much you know, exaggerated or whatnot, but it's still funny, right? It's have a laugh, guys, right? Here we are. Here's one. Build Back Better, guys. Here we are. Biden administration to fund programs that hand out crack pipes to prevent infection and promote racial equality in the month of February. Oh man, so you know, the type of stuff that we need, the stuff that we need, the stuff that we get. Like I said, I've no administration. You cannot. There's no voting your way to better infrastructure. Right? There is no voting your way to better infrastructure in this country anymore. I've said that for years. Okay? How are you going to get better infrastructure, better in a much more sufficient and a better manner? Well, look at what Brightline has done, right? Did they vote for it? No. But they certainly helped to get politicians that helped them out and stuff like that, right? But hey, there's always... Joe Biden doesn't have us all, you know, down in the rumps or anything like that, right? He does just want us to OD ourselves out of reality over here. He does have a job plan, right? He does have a job plan. Okay? we may be going to war, guys. We may be going to war. So again, like I said over here, negotiations around Russia and Ukraine. Well, let me go into this bit over here. So we're talking about jobs, right? What job plan do we have, guys? Well, let me see. Let me get this going in, because I had this set up perfectly, and now it's not set up anymore. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see. Here we go. Just bear with me, guys. It will be all worth the effort. It will be all worth the effort. Just give me a bit over here, okay? All right. You all ready for your jobs? Here's the job plans for millennials and Gen Z, folks. Here we go. Woo! There you are, kids. Now you really want to build some infrastructure? Well, guess what? You can go ahead and you can be 35 kilo, I think, for railroad inspectors. Well, that's all right. You can go ahead and be 11 Bravo. You can go be an infantryman. How about Special Forces? You want to be 18 X-ray? CBRN, 74 Delta. There we go. You can be a human intelligence collector. Maybe you can be a glowy. You can go ahead and go into psychological operations. 37 Foxtrot. Yeah, that'll be great for you guys. There we go. Future bonuses. You can go ahead and get $9,000 for shipping in 30 days. There we go. Go ahead and put that down payment on that Mustang that you guys wanted. Yeah, there we go. Maybe cause more worse relationships over at home and stuff like that. Here you go. Oh, we want to come back? Maybe you were tired of going back. Maybe your knees are feeling a little bit off from PT every week and carrying rucking in 120 pounds. Well, guess what? Get $20,000 too. There we go. It's not funny, but it is funny because I make it so, and I'm giggling. Maybe it's just my insane sense of humor. People have told me that, and this was before everything has happened. I've always had a dark sense of humor. But yeah, guys, it's they keep pushing. They keep pushing for it. So it's now it's 2 weeks that the Russians are going to invade Ukraine, or now it's February the 16th now. What's the latest news? Russia to invade Ukraine. Which would be pretty stupid, right? Why would a military go ahead and if any country say, yeah, we're going to invade on this date right here? Tell everybody, tell NATO, yeah, that's what we're going to do, comrade. We're going to invade on this date right here. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Yeah, no, I don't think so. But they probably not even going to invade at this point. But now, oh wait, now it's any day now. It is any day now. Here we are. Any day now. 2 more weeks. But yeah, again, how does this affect infrastructure? Well, it means a lot less here for the United States, domestically, and a lot more for the MIC, the military industrial complex, right? And look, I have a lot of family that has served. I know a lot of veterans. I work with a lot of veterans every day. And I myself support these guys. I don't support the leaders and what they're doing to them. Basically taking advantage of our service members, throwing them into conflicts that are way too long, psychologically destroy them. This is the type of stuff that ruins a country. This is what makes countries bankrupt. Okay? Going ahead and putting out legions of people all over the place and expeditions all over the world. For what? Look what happened in Afghanistan. So now we're going to go ahead and invade Russia in the winter. As if that's ever worked out. But this is really just an issue that keeps going on and on and on. Because we need to fix up over here. We can't be going on over and over again to other countries. We can't be the world's policeman. We can't. Again, look at the results of what it has done. Now, what could it mean for the effects of what happens in Ukraine and Russia? I'm not a Russophile. I don't, I think all the stuff that they're doing over there, it's pretty great and fun for Russia and whatnot. For Ukraine, well, that's not our problem, not our country. It's not. We're not going to get anything out of it. And for anybody saying otherwise, we didn't get anything out of Iraq or Afghanistan. For all I know, this could be another repeat of the Iraq-Iran war in the 1980s. If you guys really want to look on something in the 80s, it wasn't fun in the 80s for any kid growing up in Iraq and in Iran. It's like when our generation talks about the 90s, because nostalgia is such a big thing nowadays because current culture just is absolutely abysmally horrible. But talking about, remember the 90s, remember Pokemon, remember Game Boys and Nintendo and whatnot. Well, be a kid in the Balkans in the 90s. It wasn't so great in the 90s, which speaking of, the Balkans could be going up again because now there's a breakaway that could be in Bosnia and Herzegovina that wants to go back to Serbia. We could have a repeat of the 90s again. We got the high crime rates and everything of the 90s. Well, let's go have another Balkans war too. That could definitely happen as well. But yeah, world's not doing well, and of course that will affect the market. That will affect everything. That will affect the economy. And guess what? All these what's going on in basically our countries that devolved to this. We got Truckistan and Crackistan. that's what we got right now. That's the state of the country. All right, guys. Well, I mean that's some of the news over there with that. And basically, one last thing that we can go over here. Yeah, like I said, this was going to be a shorter stream and everything like that. It is 8:59, so I think I finally got a close to an hour stream right now. Yeah. So another thing that could affect the economy is cryptocurrency. So I was pretty big into crypto back in 2016, 2017. Got the heck out in 2018. I honestly think it's going to affect the financial market, and I think it's the way of the future right now, right? For anybody asking when we're going to have crypto donate addresses, who knows? But the Super Bowl, if you guys have been watching the Super Bowl, there's been probably a lot of ads for cryptocurrencies. What's that going to do for the market? I don't know, but it just goes to show you that, well, there could be different avenues of funding, so you never know if maybe in the future, somebody pays $1 or half a Bitcoin, depending on where it goes up to, if it does go up to $1 billion or whatever, pay half a Bitcoin to go ahead and fund the railroad system. Who knows? Who honestly knows what can go on, right? But at least there are going to be certain avenues, other avenues of funding, right? Certain countries are accepting cryptocurrency as their official or as currency that can be officially accepted, like in El Salvador, which their president is pretty good. I think as Nayib Bukele. He's honestly, of all the world leaders, he's probably one of the better ones. There's some things I don't agree with him on China and stuff like that. At least what he's doing now with China, but he's definitely somebody that cares for El Salvador. So I mean, it's good on the El Salvadorians for for having him on there. But, again, this could be another thing to either it could make the economy worse or better, but it's at least another option going on, right? So that is something. But yeah, that's what we got over here. We already talked about this, but this is another article about the Freedom Convoy protest. Unlikely at the Super Bowl. They ran out of time. Like I said, this was today at 6:39 because I was going to check if there really was anybody over there. I expected maybe like one or two trucks and like some large dude over there with a cap waving a flag or something like that. One of those confused guys that waves a thin blue line flag and a "Don't Tread on Me" flag. It's like pick one, right? pick one, because the same guys who are running the "Don't Tread on Me" flags and the blue line flags. Well, make your pick, guy. Make your pick. Make your pick. But yeah, didn't happen. But why is this important? Because it's definitely a sort of threat now that the politicians or at least the supply chain sees that can definitely screw things up even more. All right, so yeah, let's just talk about transportation projects that are happening. Well, we can't talk about transportation projects that are happening if they can't happen. But yeah, if any of you guys want to bring in any other sort of projects or anything else to look up, link me up, link up some things. Because right now, that's all for my articles for right now. And we're going to go ahead and take some questions over here. All right, so in the audience with their hands up, David Mitchell, Renell Reed, and Osman Hussein. Remember, let's keep it to 5 minutes. All right, I will time you guys, but, let's keep it short and sweet to the point. Let's keep the conversation going. But if you guys have any articles or anything else to share, any news, anything you guys want to talk about over here, be my guest. Again, remember the language. Remember to keep things that will keep Susan of YouTube happy. That's all I'm going to say. So let's invite David Mitchell on board. David, you're on board.
Hey, Demo.
How's it going?
Doing good, man. Just had a little bit of a rough day at work.
I feel you, man. I hope everything's going well.
Well, the thing is, I had to deal with a Karen of a manager because two of our manager know what happened to my mom with my mom being a COVID survivor or the coup.
Yeah, don't say the word again, man. Come on.
But what happened is, two of the manager bought me some Valentine's stuff where I can give to my wife, and the other one got a little mad and told me that I should be ashamed of myself and wrote me up, or said that she was going to write me up.
Yeah, that does suck, man. But anything you have on transportation or anything or on infrastructure?
Yeah, I do. Go to your chain. It's about Santa Cruz, California. You want to look at this.
Alrighty. I'm going over here.
It's talking about Santa Cruz, California, where Santa Cruz County is opposing against a fort abandonment on, Warren Camp, that tour railroad up there in California?
I'm not familiar with it, no.
It begins with R, Warren Camp. I can't say it properly.
That's alright, but I got the article up over here, so we can go ahead and look at that. Alright, so we got Santa Cruz Council votes against rail abandonment. Alright, so the Santa Cruz City Council has voted unanimously to express opposition to a proposal that would lead to abandonment of the line connecting to the city of Santa Cruz, Big Trees, and Pacific Tourist Railroad. Okay, so that's something. Has voted no legal bearing on the proposal floated by the Santa Cruz Regional Transportation Commission, but that a council member said the body should clearly state its opinion. The council will also send a letter to the nearby Watsonville City Council asking to take a similar stance. All right, so that's at least something.
That's a big thing for the railroad community because that's a very popular tour railroad, but it's historic,
It's what?
It's historic,
Oh, historic, yes, yeah, absolutely.
But they also still haul freight on it, but they are testing, and they are actually testing a light rail, like a autonomous train, cable car on the line too.
Right. And it looks like here it says that it allowing the commission to pursue development of a trail along the route while rail banking the rail line instead of facing up to $65 million in infrastructure improvements on the route. But it would also end the possibility of freight service on the line as well as remove the federal protections offered by common carrier status regulated by the Transportation Board. So that's what they're seeking discussing the possibility of seeking adverse abandonment of it. Okay, so that's what would happen if they did abandon it. Another rail trail.
Well, the county is going against it because they know what will happen. If they abandon that line and turn it into a trail, you could get the city of Santa Cruz goodbye.
Yeah.
They are fighting for it because they know if that line get abandoned, they're simply screwed because they will lose tourism, they'll lose freight, and what to say, there'll be a sell up their shelf, and crime will probably go through the roof.
Yeah. Alrighty, man.
So this is a big victory for the railroading community that they're voting against the abandonment.
Yeah, no, I agree with this. It's good to at least keep that going on there and keep the line going, and at least it opens up the avenue for more improvements to the line and keeping that going. Of course, I guess over here the holiday train and the tourist line that it runs on there, but of course having more freight and everything on along the line.
Yeah.
All right.
Chain it at the end of the line. They can actually build like a transloading facility at the end of the line because they got big enough land at the end of where the line terminates to build a transload facility to get all that freight out of the city coming from trucks and for it to go on train, to make it all easier.
Absolutely. All right, David, we're cutting close on time. Any last words or anything?
Yeah, I hope it's a victory, man.
Yeah, that's definitely one more. We'll take everything that comes in. Thank you for sharing this, man. I appreciate it.
Before I go, I know the Bengals are going to win it because of the Simpsons.
Okay, well, maybe the Simpsons did predict it. We never know. But anyway, thank you for coming on board, man. Appreciate it.
Always will be there, man.
Alrighty, take care. Alrighty, so next on the call list is going to be Rennell Reed. I know we had some issues getting him on board last week, but we definitely should be able to work it out this week. Rennell, you are up on board. Come on board, man. Alright, make sure your mic's unmuted, make sure everything works, make sure you have good connection, and you are set to go. Hello, Rennell.
Yes.
Alright.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, man. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Alrighty. How's it going?
I'm doing okay.
Alright, what's up, man? Anything
Really,
on the news out there?
Really, YouTube should be called Censored Tube.
Yeah, I think so too, man. It's good to hear from you. It's been a bit.
Yeah, I'm following. I'm also following. The Midwest. What happened in the Midwest? I'm aware of it. The venture cars are in revenue service.
Yeah, and that's definitely a very good thing to have. Yeah, we talked about it early on here. Any thoughts you want to give to that?
Yeah, but nobody's put out a video like what the ride is like.
Oh, that definitely.
There are no videos yet.
No, I'm pretty sure they'll come out soon if the high-speed rail lines, because they definitely came out with a picture of it. But if anybody has come up with any videos or anything like that, they'll definitely be coming out soon. I would go myself there, but I mean I got work and everything like that, so. And I'm honestly there's certain things I can afford right now, and going on a train is probably something I can just keep for a little bit long. But I mean, I wish I could. If things were different, if other people who aren't here now would be here, and that'll be definitely something else to think about. But it's what it is, unfortunately.
They actually, I think they do recline. It's just a different type of recline.
Yeah,
it's
more of a it's a slide and recline. It's not the chair reclining itself. It's more of a decline in a sense.
I'd like to ride Brightline one day. Yeah,
man, it's open now, so you can come on down to Florida and go ahead and check that out.
And you think it would be like I ride Brightline and you ride Amtrak. The government sponsored and government-owned railroad, I think it would be like complete night and day.
Yeah, it definitely is. And at least with Amtrak's new equipment, it at least brings things up to a more modern standard. But it's
Adventure cars.
Yeah, it's still the other things that surround Brightline that make it what it is, right? Because it's not just a train. It's also the service that you get with it. It's the punctuality. It's the people that are on board over there, the crew members. It's them coming over to you and offering you drinks and snacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's not microwavable meals or Amtrak's infamous food on there. Which Amtrak used to have better food. Now they gone back. I haven't been on an Amtrak train in a while to go ahead and test out their food, how it is now. But it's the service around Brightline, the cleanliness of it, and everything else surrounding it is what makes Brightline and separates it apart from Amtrak.
And some of the corridor trains between the state capitol and Penn Station don't even have food service at all.
Yeah,
a lot of them don't.
Yeah, and within, even if you're taking a 30-minute ride on Amtrak, they still come around with food or anything like that if you want. Now, that's a great thing to add for revenue and to add that onto there, of course. But it's at least having that availability, right? And it's not just, it's
a loss leader.
Yeah. And it's not just, having just a service that you just sit on a seat and just can move from point A to point B. It's whatever happens during that, having the tables like you have on Brightline to be able to sit down and, Darius, every time he would go on there, and he probably, he can probably tell you, but we've seen videos of him. He goes ahead and puts down an iPad, and he's emulating, Sonic 2 on there and playing around with it and on a gamepad and everything like that. Emulating it on there, and it's perfectly fine. And connecting to the internet, because that's the other thing that Amtrak hasn't really fixed, that I still heard that Amtrak is still terrible with, is their Wi-Fi. It still sucks. Yeah, it still does. On Brightline, I never had an issue connecting to it and everything, and it was super fast, and it was easy to get in and everything like that. And that was it.
And I seen that with the Wi-Fi issues on Amtrak when the video where it was like 5 things you can and can't do on the Amtrak.
Yeah, train. And that's an old video, man. I was probably at least 50, 60 pounds lighter in that video.
Anyway, I'd like to see Brightline here between the state capitol and NYC. I think what I think will happen, it'd be more like butting heads with each other, more or less.
That could happen. And that'll be the last topic we can talk about for now, because we got time getting close. But honestly, I think Brightline is really focusing right now on A, finishing up Orlando. B, getting to Vegas to Victorville.
Brightline West.
Yeah, once they finish Brightline West, we'll probably see where Brightline goes next with that. Of course, extending their services on there. But I think, I wouldn't make a bet on it, but I think they're probably going to make the next one somewhere in the Midwest, possibly Chicago, Milwaukee, or St. Louis to Chicago, something along those lines. I do think something is going to be happening there within the next 10 years or so.
I even think Albany-Boston route possibly the trick as well.
That could be a possibility, but then again, we'll never know. But anyway, Renell, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it, man.
You too.
Take care. Alrighty, and last but not least, with their hand up, Osman Hussein. We had another issue with him last week, but let's hope things are better now. Welcome aboard, Osman.
Hi.
Are you there?
Hi.
Hey, I can hear you loud and clear. Welcome aboard. Osman, you're on board, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, how you doing, man?
Yeah. So, can I have California high-speed rail?
Can you have California high-speed rail? whenever it comes, yeah, absolutely, you can get on California high-speed rail. Can you have the project? I don't think so. Osman, you're having difficulties connecting there, man. All right. Are you there? Yep, I guess he disconnected. Oh well. But yeah. So we were talking a little bit about California high-speed rail. There was some news this week. I didn't want to bring it up because it's more of the same from California, but you guys keep asking for it. Here you go. Here you go. Here's some more California high-speed rail news. Cost for California's high-speed rail project climb another $5 billion. Who saw that coming? I definitely didn't see that coming. Did you see that coming? It's the same thing over and over again, guys. Oh, man. No, here we go again. It doesn't mean anything, right? I said this was going to be a $100 billion project easily, right? More than that, at least. But now it is $105 billion. Because I said it was going to be $100 billion years ago, and everybody's saying, no, it's going to be $70 billion, it's going to be $60 billion. And then, guess who was right? Again, I don't like being right, because being right means bad things happen. Every single time I'm right, it's always about the bad things, and that means everything. Again, I don't know about this whole Russia-Ukraine thing. Could the bad thing happen? I honestly, I don't think they're going to invade, but, let's see. As some people have said in the comments, arguing back and forth whether they will or whether they not. I don't think so. And that would be hilarious if they don't, because, NATO is posturing to go ahead and have them go ahead and invade, and, we're doing all this and freaking out, and Ukraine is burning up like a half of their, moving all their personnel out to the western part and everything like that. It'd be hilarious if they had to move everything back after that, but anyway. Back home, another $5 billion has been added to the cost of California's ambitious but long-delayed high-speed rail line. Long delayed, and I mean long delayed. According to estimates released Tuesday that show it could take $105 billion to finish the route from San Francisco to Los Angeles. The figures were included in the California High-Speed Rail Authority's latest biannual business plan. Hey, inflation, 5% inflation is a lot better than most things right now. 35% for a lot of groceries, gas. So if it was $100 billion before and now it's $105 billion, that's just 5%. They're actually beating inflation there. The increases are partly due to commitments aimed at minimizing community disruption, such as distancing the train from the Cesar E. Chavez National Monument in the Central Valley and tunneling tracks near the Burbank Airport, project officials said. This is, and here's the thing that really, again, grinds my gears over and over again about California. They have had since the 90s to go ahead and plan this out. And it's taken them so long to keep this going, to keep this on board, to go ahead and make plans, remake plans, figure out rights of ways, etc., etc. They should have had this out the gate. Look at what Brightline is. Brightline's going to get Brightline West done far faster than California will. They already have the right of way. Now, of course, it's a lot easier for them to get it. It's out in the desert. Most of that is owned by the Bureau of Land Management, so it's free real estate. So it doesn't really matter for that. But still, a private company is going to go ahead and T-pose in California's yard and just go ahead and build a high-speed rail train there. Not only a high-speed rail train, but America's first true high-speed rail train. If and when that does happen, it's looking a lot more like when now than if. 95% now, it is a when Brightline will happen, because a lot of the ifs are basically gone and over with. But yeah, so they have attained 90% of the land parcels it needs for the first segment, and more than half the full 500-mile route is now environmentally cleared according to the business plan. So they still have to do the EIS study, which takes years. It takes years. Somebody on Discord was asking about how can we go ahead and check on these projects on the EIS. So the EPA does have a website that you can go ahead and check on their EIS studies. And I'll show you guys real quick so you guys have some sort of reference to it. So the EPA EIS studies. Go ahead and bring up the website over here. So if you go over, they have a database. Here we are. There's the database. So you go over here and let's say, I want to look up, let's say Brightline, or as it was called before over there, All Aboard Florida, right? And make sure when you're clicking agency, go ahead and put in, let me see, federal, let's just put FRA. Maybe FRA just comes up. Yeah, FRA does come up. So you go ahead, put in FRA. Go ahead and search. And there you go. See? And you can go ahead and see the draft study. You can see the final. You can go ahead and click them. You can go ahead and see all the documents. Looking up to see the poor little scrub jays. We need to make sure the scrub jays don't get, the poor little birdies. We got to make sure that they're certified. It's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna hurt the birdies. Vibration impact, farmland soils. It shows you all of this, right? Which of course, it's obvious to us. I'm speaking to the crowd right now. Speaking to the choir. We all know trains are far more environmentally friendly than highways. Of course, when it comes to coming up with an extension or adding more lanes to a highway, that gets rubber stamped by the EPA, right? Oh, and let's not talk about the Department of speaking of EPA and alphabet soup agencies. Do not look up the deputy assistant for nuclear waste management of the Department of Energy. I had a nice dinner. I would like to keep it in there, but yeah, things are just getting worse and worse, guys. I mean, it's just a mess out there. But yeah, that's the way you can go ahead and look it up. And again, get involved and stuff like that. So we are going to be adding some more stuff into the Discord. So we are getting some more people in there on the Discord channel on Arc Grand Central. The link is in the description, and I also put it in the chat as well. And I'll go ahead and put another link as well if you guys want to go ahead and sign on in. We are going to be adding in rules this week. It's not anarchy over there, and it's definitely not a communist dictatorship. Anything of the sort will be thrown out of helicopters. But regardless, there will be rules being added this week, and I'll work to go ahead and add that in. We'll probably add in some more mods and stuff like that as well. And a meme page, because we got a meme page on there as well. So we can keep all the memes in one spot. And probably we'll maybe do like a meme review or something like that. It'll be fun. But at least keeps things on board, keeps things focused on the general chat. And we'll probably add, as I put on the suggestion board, if you guys have projects that are in your area and you're coordinating on making sure to advocate and make sure that these projects, let's say they're in commission meetings or something like that, and you want to go ahead and add a link to a public meeting that is happening now, go ahead and add that in, because here's the thing that at least the COOF has done that has made things a lot easier. At least for our generation, because it seems the older folks are still having a little bit of issue on Zoom, especially with keeping their pants on and stuff like that. I mean, look, for me, I always wear pants and stuff like that, I like to dress nice when I'm on meetings because it at least makes me feel a little bit better, It's having that Superman effect of having a uniform on and stuff. But at least it's a lot easier for you to get on these meetings, get involved, voice out your opinion, voice out the facts about rail projects in your area, and get that out, because you get out there, especially for younger folks like us, it's much more of a unicorn, let's put it that way. Because when I've gone into meetings, especially when I've gone up nicely dressed up as the way that I usually am, going into these places, and suit and tie and stuff like that, it draws attention. This guy looks professional and stuff like that. I've done my research. I don't go over there and just start blabbing out and spitting into the microphone and stuff like that, looking like a spurg or something. I'm professional, I'm succinct, I'm to the point. Well, succinct to a point, because sometimes you want to go ahead and rile up the audience sometimes. And I've done that in North Miami Beach when they're transit meeting, and it got some noise. And, you know, from there, it actually helped to go ahead and inspire the Aventura station. You know, I'm not at all claiming that it was all because of me that I got the Aventura station done at Brightline. But it definitely got the commissioner from Aventura upset because a lot of the funding that they had for their transportation projects has been sifted off elsewhere, or the 2 cent the penny tax that we've had in South Florida for the longest of time hasn't really helped to bring that area on board and connected to the rest of the county. So yeah, it does help, guys. It does do things. All right. Anything else? Anything else you guys want to talk about over here? Because I think we are good to go. Anything else? I think we're set. Brightline from Atlanta to Charlotte. That might be one of the only things I'll draw out there is Charlotte. Yep, that's another one. Actually, let me retract back something. The next place I don't think Brightline will be going will probably be the Midwest. I think the next place they'll probably be looking at is going to be Atlanta to Charlotte. Now, they definitely have been talking about the Midwest. They have been talking about Chicago to St. Louis a lot. But Atlanta to Charlotte has been something that has been on the list. And it's definitely a lot of the local politicians and bureaucrats in the area have been talking about an Atlanta to Charlotte line. So that may be something. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. I don't think we really have anything else. So yeah, we'll keep it short and sweet. That's an hour and 30 minutes more or less. But let me see. Is it the final? We're at quarter 4, guys. So yeah, we got it all cleared up for quarter 4. It's a close game. Fourth quarter, Bengals up 20 and Rams are 16. Well, they're up 4. It's 20 to 16. But let's see. And apparently a fan was tackled running on the field at SoFi Stadium 15 minutes ago. And hey, you know, that's the least crazy thing that's happened all week, guys, but it's what it is. Alrighty, folks. Thank you all for riding on board. Thank you all for joining in on another wild ride on the American Rail Club live stream. If you happen to like this video, just go ahead and like. Make sure you like the video on there because it does help with the algorithm from Susan's cronies. Make sure you also subscribe, you ring the bell, share out the videos, and get on board on our Discord channel. Yeah, it's a mess right now, but definitely we're going to go ahead and get that server up and running, and it's going to be a pretty fun place. I hope so. But anyway, have a great night, y'all. Take care and Godspeed. We will see you on board next time. Take care.